So the Game Developer Conference State of the Industry has come out recently. They usually do this survey trying to figure out where developers are leaning, what platforms, etc., what genres, all that great stuff. And Nintendo Switch is garnering a lot of interest. There has been quite a lot of information in here, so I'm going to try to summarize it as best as I can. It says since its successful launch in March of 2017, the Nintendo Switch has already gained significant mindshare among developers, with 12% currently developing titles on the platform compared to just 3% last year. Even more developers, 15% of respondents, said they are planning to make their next game available on the platform, a sharp increase from last year's survey, in which only 5% said the same. When asked which platforms, if any, interested developers the most, 36% of respondents answered Nintendo Switch, a strong showing that only places it below more established platforms like PC, which finished at 59%, and PlayStation 4, which finished at 39%. The Nintendo Switch even managed to garner more developer interest than the Xbox One, which received 28%. Despite the comparatively smaller size of the Switch's install base versus competing consoles, 28% of respondents have said that their games have sold better than average on Switch, while 23% said that their sales on Switch have been average. Only 16% of respondents said their games have sold less on Switch than other consoles. Considering that 33% of respondents said that this question didn't apply to them, we can conclude that 76% of respondents who launched a game on Switch saw sales that matched or exceeded those on other platforms. As the amount of games available on Switch swiftly rises, it'll be interesting to see how this statistic changes in upcoming years. Now, it is important to note that this is statistics, and statistics can be bent and melded to mean anything you want to mean. Like, the 76% of people that met or exceeded their sales success could literally just be indie developers, and then the 16% is all AAA developers, for all we know. There's no context here other than this being from the GDC, which is one of the most respected, departments out there. The Game Developers Conference, highly respected. Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft and Ubisoft and EA, like everyone has a huge presence at this. Lots of indie developers. It's kind of where indie developers and the big guns kind of all get together. Yeah, E3 is great, but E3 is more about advertising and media and interacting with fans, whereas GDC is really about the developers and the platform holders and all that stuff. So it's really cool to see the interest level increase in Switch. And I made a prediction last year, and I'll just say this again. I predicted this would be the year of third-party on Switch, not because there's not going to be first-party games, but because I feel like we're going to see this big influx of third-party support. And this seems to indicate that. Before Switch released, there was only a 3% interest in the platform. Now it comes out, and 15% of developers, that were polled, we don't know how many were polled, 15% of those are already making games, and then 36% of them are interested in making games for the platform. Only 39% interested in PlayStation 4, so it's almost caught up to the level of PlayStation 4, and there's more interest in developing on Switch than the Xbox. This is very, very enticing to me, and this shows a massive uptick in support. Now, again, this is probably primarily indie developers, because to talk about sales success, we know many indie titles have sold phenomenally on Switch. We also know that when you see that 59% mark for PC, that's generally indies, because PC is one of the easiest platforms to release indie games on. Although not necessarily the best platform for making money, a lot of indie developers are starting to think, man, you want to make money, Switch is where you need to put your priorities at. So we'll see what happens with that as the year moves on. But I'm still highly enticed that at the Game Developers Conference, the initial poll they put out to all the developers that I assume are attending are that the Switch is on the rise, and it's on the rise quickly. Sales are rising, interest is rising, and more games are being made for the platform this year than last year. And that's why I said 2018, year of the third party. I feel once E3 rolls around, we're going to see so many announcements for the platform, from AAA third parties to indie developers to even maybe some B-tier games, maybe another ukulele-style indie game. Heck, maybe a Senua's Sacrifice, which is like a AAA-style game made on an indie budget by developers who used to make AAA games. Maybe we'll see more games like that. Obviously, we know Bayonetta 3 is coming, although it's exclusive, but it's still very, very interesting to see all of this interest in the Switch. More than the Xbox, which isn't necessarily surprising, considering that Xbox has kind of a smaller mind share of gamers overall. And even though the X is off to a flying start, indie developers are going to care more about where the audience for indie games are, whereas the audience for Xbox One X is going to be more so in the high-end AAA space, pushing those 4K visuals and 60 FPS or whatever the case may be. Although I don't think there's been a game that runs at 4K 60 on the Xbox One X yet. I could be wrong on that. Maybe there's something with some dynamic resolution scaling that pulls it off. Anyways, I know Assassin's Creed Origins, as an example, looks phenomenal on Xbox One X, and just like it does on PC, and some people actually have a hard time telling the difference between the two, which is crazy. But that being said, I am pretty stoked about this because this means more games. And I don't think I can ever complain about more games. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I want every single game in existence to come to Switch. Whether it's an old school game, whether it's a new game, whether it's brand new exclusive games or multi-platform AAA games, multi-platform indie titles, exclusive indie titles. I don't care what it is. I want all the games on Switch because I want every game in the world to be portable and convenient. And I'm not saying that that means these games should be on other platforms. PlayStation 4 and Xbox should get them too. So should PC. So should smart devices for the games that can also be on smartphones and on Switch. I think that everyone should get to enjoy as many options for games as they can on the platforms they have. And as such, I want everything on Switch. Please, please give it to me. Please, please, please. And I'm going to keep praying that Square Enix is part of this because, well, Square Enix has obviously shown support, and they even have Project Octopath Traveler still coming. I think they just released Lost Sphere. I think that was Square Enix. I could be wrong there. But Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm going to keep hoping and keep hoping. Probably a failed hope that Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to come. It's probably not coming. I'm not saying it's coming. Not even going to say Final Fantasy 15 is coming. But I have hope that both of those titles are arriving on Switch this year. And I'm going to hold out hope for Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm going to hold out hope for some indie games. Ones that I don't even know about yet. Because I don't pay a huge attention to the indie scene. Just when great indie titles pop up and I play them, I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm going to keep praying for more and more of that. Anyways, folks, you guys let me know what games you want to see on Switch this year down in the comments below. I am Nathaniel Rufflejans from Nintendo Prime, and if you like this video, you know what to do. And if you dislike the video, hit that dislike button. Subscribe for more content. And as always, folks, I will catch you in the next one.